try to read a lot of books. I like to talk about books, I like to rant about books, I like to buy books, I like to put books on my shelves. I have a TBR game that I play every month, and I mostly enjoy doing fun, silly, little reading challenges. I have 330 books shelved on my Goodreads as read, and from those, 59 have been rated 5 stars. Not exactly 59, it's slightly more, but we're not gonna consider the continuations on series, and we're also not gonna consider these like 10 books by the same author that I read when I was 12. So today we are here to talk about the 59 books that I rated 5 stars, and we're gonna rank them. I'm gonna divide all these 59 books into 5 different categories. An absolute piece of art, emotional damage. These are obviously my all-time favorite books, the ones that I read, I think about all the time. I make my entire personality out of them. I recommend them every single time that I have a chance, and I think everyone should read them and everyone should love them. And if you don't love them, the problem is clearly you. I loved you once, I love you still, always have, always will. These are the very strong 5-star reads, the ones that hold, the ones that are solid. I don't remember you, but I trust. It says it all. I don't remember the book, or I don't remember much about the book, but I trust that because either I didn't read them that long ago, or because I remember like the subject or something about them, I trust my past self when she gave them 5 stars, and I think that if I was to read them today, I would still give them a 5 stars. Sweet Summer Child. These are the books that I read so long ago when I was basically a different person. I'm imagining that most of them would be young adult. I used to read quite a bit of young adult back in the day, and now I don't connect, but I think that's fine. I think people evolved, and that's perfectly normal, and you don't need to maintain your same tastes for your entire life spectrum, which obviously also applies to the books that you read and the things that you used to enjoy but would no longer current date. So that's this category. And lastly, I have the was I asleep? Because that's my only explanation. These are the books that I don't remember a single thing about that, but also I don't think they would be a 5-star read. For one reason or another, let's discuss when we find them. Here we are, we have all 59 books at the bottom, and they are in no specific order. Let's get started because I think we're gonna be here for a little bit. The first one, we have The Kind Worth Killing. This is a thriller book, and this was either the first or the second thriller book that I read. I don't remember anything about it, so now my question is, do I trust or was I asleep? I think I'm gonna trust this one, even though recently I read the prequel to this one. Or was it a sequel? No, it was a sequel actually. And I didn't like that book at all. So it's... let's just trust. Let's just trust. Then we have The Nightingale by Christine Hanna. I remember crying at the end of this book. So technically this was emotional damage. But I don't think it was an absolute piece of art. I think I'm gonna put this on I don't remember but I trust. Because I don't want to say I love you still, because I actually don't remember enough to say that. After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this on my honeymoon, and this is about a couple that has been married for a while and they are struggling to connect with each other. So they decide to kind of like take a break, create some separation between them, just can evaluate the relationship. When I was reading it, it felt very powerful to me because it felt very real, and I like a real love story. I'm gonna put it here, and I think I'm getting a bit scared that with this exercise, all we're gonna find out is that I don't remember anything. Okay, Illumina. This is a mixed media file. This is the first in a trilogy, and this was the only one in that trilogy that I read. I think I'm gonna put this in Sweet Summer Child, because if it was nowadays, I don't think this would be a 5 stars. I don't even know if it would be a 4-star. I don't know if the story would be engaging enough to convince me. The Storied Life of A.J. Fikri. I love this book. I adore it. Is it emotional damage, or is it I loved you once, I love you still? Let's put him here for now. I think I will always love this book. For now, we'll stay there. Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. This is a young adult, so I'm gonna put it on Sweet Summer Child because I feel like if I was to read this nowadays, it would probably annoy me a little bit. What else do we have? The Fault in Our Stars. I'm gonna put this on emotional damage. And hear me out. It's a young adult, and I don't know if I would still bawl my eyes out like I did when I read this, but when I tell you that I bawled my eyes out, I mean I was sobbing at like 3 a.m. at my sister's flat, crying my heart and my soul out for this. And this was one of the very first, if not the actual first book that made me cry like that. Like the amount of tears that came out of my eyes with this book. There's another one, and let's just do this one straight up. The Last Song by Nicholas Sparks. It's the same thing. I'm gonna put them both in emotional damage, and now I'm questioning the name that I gave to the category because I don't think they are an absolute piece of art. I just think they are emotional damage. So perhaps I should have had another category. it is what it is. So I guess let's just treat these as two different categories. Some of them will be an absolute piece of art and some of them will be emotional damage. We are 8 books in and this is already a mess. Anyway, yes, let's move on. What else do we have? We have the Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. Right, so I trust. I don't remember absolutely anything about this book. I'm gonna put it on Was I Asleep because I honestly don't remember anything. I can't picture a single scene of this book. Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I don't think I would enjoy it nowadays. I don't think I would, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think I would. Divergent by Veronica Roth. This is a product of its time, so it's Sweet Summer Child because I loved it back in the day, but I read this as a teenager and I don't think it would have the same impact nowadays as it had back then. The Boy in the Stripped Pajamas. This was emotional damage as well. And the reason, to be honest, the reason why I remember things about this book is because of the movie. So I'm just gonna put it on Sweet Summer Child. This one, I'll Give You the Sun. This is again another one, Was I Asleep? It wouldn't be a 5-star nowadays. I don't remember anything. The Hunger Games, I read the whole series, but like I mentioned, I'm only putting here the first ones of each series. This was I Loved You Once, I Love You Still. I always have, I always will. Now this is so interesting. This was a book that I read so many years ago, The Life on the Refrigerator Door. And back then I read it several times because it reads so fast. Each page, it's like a post-it note that mom and daughter would leave on the fridge door for each other, little messages. The whole book is like that. And you can look into their relationship to see how it was, and then something happens in their relationship and things change. Back then, this was emotional damage, not because it made me cry, but because it made me think about life in the topics that this book approached. I'm trying not to spoil it. It's a super old book and I doubt that any of you will read it, but you should definitely read it. It's so small. Anyway, I digress. Where do I put this? I think I'm gonna put it on I Loved You Once, Love You Still, because it has a very strong meaning for me. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Honestly, Sweet Summer Child? Nah, Was I Asleep? I don't remember anything about this. Yes, let's go. Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. I don't remember anything. November 9th by Colleen Hoover. I think this was a Sweet Summer Child. I think I loved it back then, but now I don't know if I would. The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Everyone that has watched my videos know how much I preach this book, so I feel like I should put it on an absolute piece of art. However, I'm gonna put it on I Loved You Once, I Love You Still. I love it and it's a very strong, solid 5 stars. I've reread this book to confirm it was a 5-star and indeed it is. But I don't know if I call it a piece of art. At least not anymore. But it might be because I'm not into thriller nowadays anymore. Anyway, let's go for a random one here from the middle. The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I really like this book as well. So let's put it right here next to Turn of the Key on Loved You Once. And I also reread this and there's also another video of me rereading this. I digress. Solid 5 stars, I maintain. Oh, look at him. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I read the first 2 of this series and I never finished. It's fantasy. It's very popular. Everyone loves it. I loved it when I read it. I think it's a Sweet Summer Child. I don't think it would hold. I mean, perhaps it would, but it's fantasy and I don't intend on reading fantasy anytime soon. Something in the Water. A thriller book. I don't think it would hold a 5-star if I was rereading it. So it's a Sweet Summer Child. For Better and Worse. I don't remember anything about this. This book, and there's another one called My Lovely Wife. I don't think I rated it 5 stars because I don't think it's here. I get confused between the two, but I think that the story that I always picture in my head is actually the My Lovely Wife one. So I don't know what this was. Another thriller. Rules for Perfect Murders. I think I was asleep as well because I don't remember anything. Regretting You. I remember reading this book. I vaguely remember the story. I remember that it's about a mother and a daughter, right? Would it hold a 5-star nowadays? Would it hold? For someone who's terrible at making decisions, deciding to make this video, terrible idea. I don't know if it would hold, but I'm gonna trust that it would. Reminders of Him, also by Colleen Hoover. This was emotional damage, but not an absolute piece of art, but it was emotional damage. You know what else was emotional damage? This right here. Lily and the Octopus. Oh my god, absolutely sobbing reading this book. Absolutely sobbing. What else do we have? The Guncle. I love this book. This is easy. This one is easy. This is I Loved You Once, I Love You Still. And what about this one? Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. A book that I love. I think this is an absolute piece of art. It's not emotional damage, but it's a piece of art. So they all go together in this category. This top category is becoming very surprising. I'm just gonna say that. This is a non-fiction. The book you wish your parents had read. This made me cry. I think this was emotional damage. No, it was here on this one. Take it down a notch. Verity. This is an absolute piece of art. Back in the day when I read it, I would happily reread this and confirm it's a 5 stars. Because back in the day when I read it, it was good. Lock Every Door, I think it's solid. I think it would hold. Let's put it here. Things you save in a fire. See, I don't remember anything about this book, but I also don't think it would hold. I think it would be a solid 4 stars nowadays. So let's put it here. The Passengers by John Mars. I'm gonna trust. And I'm also gonna trust the other John Mars book I have here, the other thriller. They are set in the same universe. This is the one. And I'm gonna trust this one as well. I haven't been having the best luck with John Mars books. I think I DNF'd the last 2 that I tried reading, which saddens me so much because I read these 3 and I absolutely love them. So it was those 2 and this one here, What Lies Between Us. The other 2 are speculative thrillers. This is a regular thriller. This one, I remember it. The Gravity of Us. I think I read this during the Ultimate Reading Competition. I'm gonna put Sweet Summer Child because I don't think it would hold. It's a young adult and yeah, I don't think it would hold. Lies by T.M. Logan. I remember reading this and thinking this had one of the biggest plot twists that I've ever read until that day. I'm trying to think about the rest of the book, if I would find the rest of the book interesting or if it would be boring. And if I'm basing my 5 stars solely on that one plot twist at the end. But obviously a 5 star has to be the whole thing. I'm gonna put it on Sweet Summer Child. If only I could tell you. This was about a family and there was a secret in the family. I'm gonna put it here as well. Heartstopper, Volume 1. I think there's 5 of them out at the moment and the last one is coming out this year. I've read them all at the moment, but I've read them all so far, but like I said, I'm only putting here the first ones of each series, so that one goes here on the always have, always will. Karen Slaughter, Pretty Girls. This book is such a chonker. I don't remember anything. Is this the one that is about 2 sisters? Honestly, I don't remember. So it goes here on Was I Asleep? And this is the thriller, The Wife Between Us. I also don't remember anything. Was I asleep for this or? Yes, let's put it there. This Is Me Letting You Go. I read this in a time of my life where this book really made sense. And I think it's one of those books that if you don't read it in the correct time, it doesn't mean anything. So because of when I read it, it made all the sense to me and it was so good and it was very cathartic as well. I'm gonna put it on I Loved You Once, I Love You Still. One of Us Is Lying is a young adult thriller, which those things combined just mean it's a Sweet Summer Child because yeah, I don't think it would still be a 5 star. One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was so good. This is one of the top 2 tiers and I cried a lot, so perhaps it was emotional damage. Pumpkinheads is a graphic novel. I don't know if it would still be a 5 star nowadays, so let's put it there. Another Nicholas Sparks book, 2 by 2. I don't remember much about it. I'm gonna trust on this one. What else do we have? The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I remember a bit of this book. I'm gonna put it here. I think it would hold. This is a fantasy, Everless, which clearly just means it's a summer child. Another Christine Hanna, The Great Alone. I would love to reread this book, to be honest, so let's put it there. This book is set in Alaska and I want to go to Alaska. I've always wanted to go to Alaska, but ever since reading this book, I just want to go more to Alaska. Oh, this is another Karen M. McManus. Another young adult thriller mystery. I think it goes here as well. The Midnight Library. I think this is a clear, I don't remember you, but I trust. I don't remember a lot of details. I remember what the book is about. Basically, this woman who commits suicide and then she wakes up in a library where she has a book for every single decision that she made throughout life, and she can pick up the books and read what would have happened to her life had she made that decision instead. So I don't remember like the stories within the stories, but I remember the premises, and I think it probably would hold. Book Lovers by Emily Harry was one of my most recent reads, and I absolutely adored this book. The question is it an absolute piece of art, or is it always have, always will? I feel like right now I want to say that it's an absolute piece of art, but I don't know if it will hold to that. That's very high standards. I would be putting the book right up top. I think it's more here. Like, I will always really appreciate this book for what it's done. The Castaways, I don't remember, but I trust. It's about a group of people in a remote island, and that's a setting that I love, so I'm just gonna trust. Now this right here, Project Hail Mary, absolute piece of art. This book is magnificent. All You're Perfect, this is a piece of art. Emotional damage, all the things. Again, but better. Would this hold? This is a young adult, but it was very good. I'm gonna say that I trust on this one because I remember really enjoying this and being very surprised, positively surprised by this one. So the fact that I don't remember, I'm hoping they would make me be positively surprised again. Now, Hostage by Claire McIntosh. I honestly don't remember anything about this, but I'm gonna trust it because it's set on a plane and I'm gonna trust it. And lastly, we have Skyward by Brendan Sanderson. And I think this was a sweet summer child. I like the premises, but the fact that it was young adult, I feel like nowadays, if I was to reread it, it would make me a little bit bored in some parts of the... Now, do I need to change anything here? I feel like here on the top tier, these two books don't belong. So I'm gonna move them here to Always Have, Always Will, because I was putting them there due to the emotional damage that they caused me, but I don't think they're an absolute piece of art. And because of the way I named the category, I feel like I need to move them down because I will always love them because of the way they made me feel, but they are not an absolute piece of art. And the same for this one, honestly. One True Loves goes here as well. I'm gonna move the Turn of the Key up. I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna put it here just so there's no gap in between them. The way it's written, this whole book is written through letters, and the way you get presented the story and the big twist gets revealed at the end. Yes, it's a piece of art, written so well. And lastly, The Storied Life of A.J. Fikri. I'm gonna move it to a piece of art as well because of the way it's written. It's so beautiful and poetic. So now let's just adjust these gaps so it all becomes nice and pretty. Okay, I think I'm happy with this. I'm gonna lock my answers. This is my final ranking of all the 5-star books that I've read. Thanks so much for watching. YouTube thinks you are going to enjoy this video right here, so click and watch that one next, and I'll see you very soon here on the channel for another video. Bye!